The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Seven minutes past 12. Faster Mike, good afternoon. Welcome to Mannin Line on Manx Radio. Thursday lunchtime, and we're open line till 1. Text 166177. WhatsApp on the same number. Email studio at manxradio.com. Call 66 13 68. Apologies to the lady who left a message yesterday. I did try to call you about your relative who did the Douglas Bay swim but couldn't get through. So if you want to give us a call and talk about it, by all means. Sounded like a fascinating story. And more on the Douglas Bay swim. Did it finish in the 1970s? What was it all about? Who started it? Who organised it? What was it for? I mean, apart from swimming across Douglas Bay. And I got a message in. Lexi sent a note in and just said, we're doing a drama production and I want a late 1990s Ardaban steam packet blazer and tie if possible. We're just trying to... It was the sea containers. Do you remember? The glory years they refer to as the steam packet. So we want a sea containers era steam packet uniform. Somebody, I don't know what it's all about, but who knows, to be quite honest. Anyway, the glory years steam packet. Text, email, call, WhatsApp, and if you have one, do get in touch. We really appreciate it. John's first on today. Hi, John.
Morning. I just want to try and find out who gives the authority for the cost of resurfacing roads that don't need resurfacing, as far as I'm concerned. I've been down Castlemona Avenue a few times in the last few weeks. That has been completely resurfaced. They are now resurfacing the road between the old ShopRite offices and the white hoardings where that new office block was supposed to be built. You know, I mean, it's a dead end as far as I know, that road. So why does it need to be resurfaced?
And just going back to Castlemona Avenue, it's the road that goes to nowhere, isn't it? It just leads to the back of the...
Goes around the back of the Empress and down there.
That's it, in the back of the Crescent, the old Crescent Cinema. What's now the apartments and what have you.
Yeah.
I mean, was it in a bad way?
Not as I'm aware of, but like I say, that has been completely resurfaced, and like I say, they are actually working now between the old ShopRite offices and the hoardings where that new office block was going to be built.
Oh, crikey, yes, yeah.
Woodburn Road, especially around York Road, the road there is horrendous. You know, I mean, who gives the authority to resurface these roads?
When you say Woodburn Road by York Road, you mean a road that's actually used, John?
Yeah, Woodburn Road, the main road.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a very, very...
traffic lights at York Road.
Yeah.
The road surface there is horrendous.
Well, I think the answer is Department of Infrastructure.
Well, somebody needs to go around and look at roads that are in worse conditions than the... I mean, to me, I don't know. It's just wasting money. Anyway, I just want to get it off my chest.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Whether anybody knew who signs these projects off. That's all.
All right, thanks, John. Good to hear from you.
Okay, thank you.
Text,
Bye.
email, call, WhatsApp. If you know a particular road that didn't need resurfacing, that's recently got a new, well, let's call it a winter coat, shall we, or a pre-spring coat. And there are roads that are, let's face it, potholed. I'll just put it that way. There was a time, do you remember, when roads on the Isle of Man used to be like billiard tables. No longer, and of course it's probably a sign of the Western world that's happened, but really, does it need to be so? And does it cost that much to actually do the darn thing? Mike's with us now. Hi, Mike.
Hello, Andy. I'd just like to let people know some information about waiting lists at Nobles.
Yeah.
Back in middle of November, I went to see my doctor, and she was going to organise a colonoscopy appointment at Nobles.
Yeah.
as an urgent, she said you should hear within 2 weeks. Unfortunately, I don't know the reasons why, that she didn't actually put the request in to the end of December, but never mind. So I've been chasing this up, and at the beginning of January I was told, it's now 6 weeks for an urgent appointment to see the consultant. And I chased it up again at the beginning of this week, and that's now stretched to 3 months for a referral to see the consultant.
So urgent equals 3 months?
Yes. Now, the secretary I spoke to has said the reason is the consultant's only got 2 clinics a week. And the secretary said, what we're asking people is to, as many people complain as possible, so that hopefully he can get some more clinics.
And who did she suggest complaining to?
Manx Care. Is it MCALs? The
yes.
people you...
Yeah, that's right.
Complain to.
That's the way to put that through. So let's just assume on a good day he can see, 15 people perhaps. That means he's only seeing 30 people per week.
I don't know how many he sees, but that's just to have the consultation with him. That's not to actually have the procedure.
And this was first, when did your GP recommend this? This was the back end of last year, yeah?
Yeah, I went and saw the doctor in the middle of November. Like I said, I think she went off island, and for whatever reason, the request wasn't received by Nobles till the end of December.
Be that as it may, this is nearly 3 months, and you're still and let's face it, being told that you need a colonoscopy is not going to make you calm. This is something that will play on your mind.
Well, fortunately, I'm glass half full. It's just that I thought I'd let people know that is now the state of affairs, and that's how long you're going to have to wait at the moment.
So when did she say you will be seen then? So that's in another 6 weeks' time?
I don't know. It's 3 months from the referral,
right?
Which Nobles got at the end of December, 27th of December.
So we're talking about the end of March.
Yes.
Yeah. That plainly isn't acceptable.
Well, I don't think so, nor did the secretary.
But thanks for alerting everybody to that, and it's obviously down to money, isn't it? Because running a clinic means getting paid. So
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah, he's not going to do them for free. So this is where colonoscopies kind of lie on the urgency scale. Not very at the moment.
No. And before I go, there's 2 very, very quick things I want to add. Do you remember last year I rang up and said I'd had 10 pieces of paper, all identical, to say what time I'm getting a telephone consultation?
Yes, I do, yes.
Yeah. I've had another 4 now. Not 4 pieces of paper, and instead of putting 4 dates on 1 piece of paper, I've got 4 pieces of good quality paper, and not recycled paper. So they haven't learnt on that score.
Well, they've obviously got the budget for that.
And the other thing I'd just like to say about the roads, like I was listening to your last caller.
Yeah.
I've recently just been across to see family, and I've travelled from Heysham and into Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire, Oxfordshire, Wiltshire, Gloucestershire, etc., and the state of the roads in England. If I'd have had alloy wheels and low-profile tyres on my van, I'd have been wanting 3 new wheels. Especially travelling at night in the rain, you can't see them, and some of those holes are big enough to have a bath in.
Yeah, well, this has been made mention in newspapers and what have you. So they're as bad as that, are they?
Oh, they're far worse than the roads we got over here. I mean, I'd like billiard table roads, or ride a motorbike, but it's far worse over there.
All right.
We think ourselves lucky.
John, good to hear from you. I certainly hope that gets sorted out before the end of March.
Okay. Oh, the other thing was they did say I could go on a cancellation list, so I might get it done a bit quicker because I've said yes to that.
Fingers crossed. All right. Thanks for calling.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers now. Bye-bye. 16 minutes past 12. You text, email, call and WhatsApp. And a note in to me that just said... would you be kind enough to read this? Well, of course I will, 470. Many of the fuel filling stations on the Isle of Man, petrol stations, diesel stations on there, are looking run down at the moment. Lights not working at night times. Roof and forecourt need attention. A lot of the filling stations are an eyesore. If this was somebody's private property, no doubt the government will be on their backs to have it cleaned up as well. So where's the cleanest petrol station on the Isle of Man? Where's the muckiest petrol station? I can think of one off the top of my head that looks a bit dingy, but I won't mention it. Clues in the title. Can you tell me this? And that reminds me of a note I got from, it was Perry. Thank you, Perry. I just found they sent this in last week and just said, can you tell me, I'll name this, I'll name the company involved, and it's a shop on Strand Street that's got filthy windows. Perry dropped a note in to say, can somebody tell Clintons to get their windows cleaned? I don't think Clintons have cleaned their windows for about a year. Are they closing down? What is the situation? In fact, a few of the shops on Strand Street seem not to have their windows cleaned every day. It was once a point of honour with retailers that they would have gleaming windows. And there was a man who used to go up and down Strand Street cleaning the windows. Has this disappeared? And is Clinton's a way of the future? Next time you're there, have a look. I'll take a look today. Have they got dirty windows? Julian's on now. Hello. Hi, Julian.
Hi, Andy. Yeah, dirty windows. Is that a sign that they're having to cut back on things that are maybe not termed essential?
Well, you would have thought for any retailer, clean see-through windows are a prerequisite.
Yeah, I agree. And it was never that way. In fact, there's quite a few windows on shops around the island with whitewash in them now as well, which is a bit worrying.
Yeah, that's true.
Just quick, Manx Care. Has anyone in government or the management at Manx Care or DHSC asked any of the staff for their advice? You know, the sisters, the nurses, the doctors. I mean, is this all top-down, or are they going to ask the people that actually know what's going on?
Well, I have to say, it will be wrong of me to keep on reading things like this out, but I have had notes in from people, and again, they're anonymous, so I don't know. A couple aren't anonymous who work for Manx Care, saying that the atmosphere is not what it could be at the moment. Now, whether or not that's true, whether it's bellwether or straws in the wind, but I don't know. But it would be nice to know if anybody works at Manx Care and is having the time of their life, do tell us, because we, the general public, don't know, Julian.
No, we also don't know who that 408 staff are either and what they do, so maybe we'll find out one of these days. After our conversation yesterday on the huge drop in share values across all the wind operators and wind turbine manufacturers, Reuters reported late yesterday with the headline, Ørsted slashes 2030 investment programme by 25%. Ørsted said they are doing this to ensure a stronger balance sheet. Ørsted said that projects currently under construction will not be affected, but restructuring of the workforce will reduce the pace of new construction. This also looks certain to torpedo Ed Miliband's plan for 2030. And they're also introducing significant doubt over the planned future huge Hornsey Project 4 wind farm off East Anglia, which hasn't passed a final investment decision as yet. It also seems certain that Ørsted will not be participating in the forthcoming allocation round 7, which are the price auctions. So if you've got the world's leading offshore wind developer is feeling the pinch at the moment, the other developers will certainly be facing significant challenges. And this sudden announcement may also explain why that allocation round auction has been delayed. The last allocation, round number 6, announced the strike prices in November of 2023, which was 4 months before the auction process started in March of 24, but no announcement has been made as of today, February 6th. So if Orsted are shelving the largest wind farms, which are their most profitable, what are the implications for the Mannin wind farm off Ramsey?
Well,
surely this has got some serious implications.
Well, they won't say, obviously, and you're quite right. I mean, this thing is going to be enormous. It's humongous, 1,000-feet-high turbines, and lots of them. And an interconnector, and going one way, of course, back to their circuit, and then one purportedly coming from Preston to Groudle, which will light Groudle up beautifully. So who knows?
Yeah, just coincidentally, the website called Offshore Energy has a recent headline titled "Shell's new North Sea floating production, storage and offloading vessel brings UK oil and gas field back online." And this vessel enables the restart of the Penguins oil and gas field located 150 miles northeast of the Shetlands, which has been offline since 2021 when the Brent Charlie platform commenced decommissioning. The Penguins field is estimated to produce 45,000 barrels of oil a day, or 12.75 million barrels of oil a year, along with 1.25 billion cubic meters of gas, which would be enough to heat 700,000 homes per year. And this vessel has a flareless system which recycles vapor back into the tanks,
right,
reducing emissions by 30% compared to previous systems.
Yeah, I always wondered about those flare stacks, those things that just burn 24 hours a day and just seem to throw energy up into the atmosphere.
I'll tell you what I did notice actually as well, in that very news article, you know, some people are always sort of throwing aspersions at the oil and gas industry. I just find it interesting to note that the wind farm operator Equinor, formerly known as Statoil, has continued with its gas and oil exploration over the years and merged with Shell in December 24 to form the UK North Sea's biggest independent producer of oil and gas. So why is Equinor partnered with Shell to get oil and gas out?
Because they're all in the energy business in the end.
Yeah, but, you know, with this news about Orsted, I mean, they are really pulling in their horns. I mean, it literally looks like no more new construction projects. You've just got rid of the CEO. You had, I think the CTO was out last year. So this is big news, really, I think. I don't know.
Okay.
It just seems that seismic movement, it seems.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Julian. Good to hear from you.
Thanks, Andy. Cheers.
A message, and thank you. It was a WhatsApper, 223, I think, who sent me a picture of somebody digging a hole in the road surrounded by an HR manager, an IT manager, a communications manager, an internal supervisor, a project manager, a PR manager, and a product development manager. And coincidentally, if you look at MaxRadio.com, go to the news site as well. There's a story titled "Relationship between the DHSC and Manx Care," and it shows the people, health bosses, talking to the Public Accounts Committee. In this particular picture is Teresa Cope, the Chief Executive, Finance Director, Jackie Lawless, Improvement Director. What's an Improvement Director? Sean Stacey and Pete Shanahan, DHSC Minister Claire Christian, Chief Officer Paul Richardson, and Executive Director of Policy and Strategy Sam McCauley. Lots of people there. And I was at a do last Saturday with lots and lots of doctors and people who have been involved with the health system on the Isle of Man for many, many years. And they were talking about the fact that the Old Nobles Hospital didn't have many executives, shall we say. And it just happened. It seems that we've grown lots of executives over it may be that they're entirely needed. It's just times change, obviously. Regarding Manx Care, says 270, I've waited 2.5 years for a consultation, and it's a heck of a lot of stress waiting. I finally got an appointment last week, then a cancellation letter within 48 hours stating unforeseen circumstances. I think they must have spelt incompetent wrongly on the letter, because that's what they are. Not the staff, the organisation, says G. Seems they are very quick to send out those cancellation letters, don't they? And you wonder what is behind all of this. Because something somewhere has gone wrong, hasn't it? We got Manx Care, separating it from DHSC, and arm's length, run your own thing, we'll just send you the money when you need it. And it seems that relations have broken down, shall we say. I've totally had enough of the current government administration, Big John and Ramsey. What I can see is working class people, the income tax has been increased by 2%. Public sector housing's increased dramatically. No access to see a doctor, hardly. A dentist, government ones. If you're working class in the Isle of Man, you're in for a rough ride. All these cost-cutting measures directly impact working class people. I'm demoralised. Let's have a look here. This is Steve. Thank you, Steve. Yes. The gentleman again yesterday stating that everyone agrees with me, which they categorically do not. The gentleman has an opinion which overwhelmingly is influenced by his own bias. Research is not sitting on the internet, and again he is only environmentally concerned when it comes to wind turbines, but totally refuses to acknowledge the massive damage that fossil fuels cause. Oh, okay. Thank you, Steve. I'm not going to pass on personal criticism about other people. If you want to do that, Steve, pick up the phone and do it yourself, okay? I will pass. And by the way, Steve, I think I've mentioned this to you before. This is an opinion program. Nobody's saying that what anybody says is scientific fact. It's an opinion program. Mannin Line for 50 years has been an opinion program. So when somebody calls in and says, I think, that's it. It's an opinion program. You obviously disagree with it, and that's your opinion. Could you give out a warning for a cold caller trying to sell PPE? The number is 07867 476 304. This person knew my name and business address, so he must have got them off the Construction Isle of Man register. I thought it was illegal to cold call now. So watch out. PPE, cold call 07867 476 304. Here's Martin with us now. Hi, Martin.
Hi, Andy. How are you doing?
Very well, thanks. What's on your mind?
Well, I've been looking at this proposal by appeal commissioners for the community centre at the end of the promenade.
Oh, at Marine Parade.
That's the one, yeah. I went in to look at the proposal in the town hall yesterday. One of the things that struck me about it was they've got they're planning on using solar power to to provide electricity for the place.
Yeah.
It strikes me that it's in the place where you can, after all these gales and this weather we've had, it's not going to be particularly good with them covered in salt and spray. And it strikes me as being a very, very expensive way of providing electricity for that process. And there's when asked, to be fair to Derek, he was very good and answered as many questions as he could. But there's no prices. There's no indication of how much this thing's going to cost and whether Peel really needs it.
Did they say they knew the price and they're just not saying at the moment? Or it can't be just lick your finger and stick it in the air. Surely they've got an idea how much it's going to cost.
That wasn't the impression I got. I think it's a proposal at this time, and let's go for it.
Oh, I see. So it's a proposal. Then we'll go out to tender and see how much it comes in at.
Yeah, and I would imagine it's going to be eye-wateringly expensive. There's issues with parking around there, and all it's providing on the face of it is 2 community rooms for the town, which there are facilities, perhaps not brilliant, but there are facilities, and then a huge cafe, with potentially I think it's about 90 places for people to sit. And if that's going to be funded by the ratepayer, I just cannot see that that's good value for money.
Well, 90 places to sit, presumably, unless they're all walking there, that's going to cause a problem for parking.
Absolutely, and that's the point. If you've got 90 people, say you get people going in a car, just a couple. Well, that's 45 cars. Well, where the hell are they going to park? I mean, besides dodging all the motorhomes that park up at that end as well, I don't disagree that something needs to go there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, something has to be done because it's drifting, isn't it, that end of the prom?
Yeah, it's run down. It looks awful. They've had some wacky ideas of having a fitness centre there, and all the equipment went rusty within about 18 months, and that got scrapped. It needs something. I don't disagree with that, but I don't think it needs this. And I would argue that with a new build, you would perhaps just power it with electricity from the mains and heat it from a heat source pump, and not go down the lines of a hugely expensive solar project with no price indicated. And you'd argue, if those solar panels in the winter are covered in salt, how much power is that going to generate?
Well, also, I mean, somebody's mentioned, I think last week, that there was a report about the worst place, or the best place and the worst places to put solar panels. And because of how far north we are, it's put it this way, it's not the best investment, put it that way. We're hardly on the equator.
No. I mean, as a ratepayer, I'm conscious that we don't want to waste money. Money's tight, and I don't see a great benefit in that.
Okay, all right. Thanks for calling today.
A pleasure. Thanks very much.
Good to hear from you. Flare stacks, we mentioned those. Flare stacks, a primary purpose is a pressure control and safety system for the facility's plumbing. It's not as much gas as it looks. I may have mentioned this before, but years ago, do you remember there was an exploration platform? I can't remember whether it was gas. I think it was gas. It was Burlington Energy used to have a platform off the Isle of Man, and that flare stack was going 24 hours a day. And obviously I'm not in the business, but I just wondered how much gas is used. It's not as much gas as it looks, apparently, says 204. I work for Manx Care on the front line. I'm not going to mention you at all, number or name. I work for Manx Care on the front line. Nobody is interested in the staff's opinion. We're told daily, it's nothing to do with you. And this is when the simplest of ideas are suggested, says this correspondent. Nobody cares? And as for atmosphere, there's probably more of an atmosphere on the moon. If anybody does work for Manx Care and just wants to tell us, the public, the taxpayers, the people who put the money into this end of the machine, what the situation's like. And we've said every time, this has nothing to do with the people on the factory floor. This has nothing to do with anybody with the workforce. Something obviously is dysfunctional at a higher level. And as usual, the people who are doing the work, the nurses, the orderlies, the cleaners, the cooks, everybody else has to fall in behind. But something's got to happen, hasn't it? Regarding the state of our roads, it's not the government's interest to deal with the potholes. Any repair to damaged vehicles includes VAT, which goes into the government's coffers. Even allowing for some claims being successful, the government's on a winner, says Pete. Well, lots of people do get their money back, don't they? I mean, is it a case that everybody who gets a pothole or gets a bent wheel because of a pothole gets their money back? I know sometimes it's I think there was a problem in the north a wee while ago around Andreas, perhaps Sherby, when some of the fittings for the cat's eyes were coming out of the road and they were causing problems. Regarding road resurfacing, says Vince, they did the slouch, the crossroads back to the Ballymoda, which didn't need doing at massive cost. They've done Domain Road, Myrtle Bank opposite the island of Chippy leading to Allen Street's really full of potholes and needs doing, says Vince. The Douglas Bay swimming competition sent me some photos. Thank you, Eric. We'll try and look at those. And David's with us now on Mannin Line. Hi, David.
Hi, Randy. I just want to talk about the budget coming up shortly.
Yeah.
And do we expect from the budget, as the ratepayers, taxpayers and whatever, and what the politicians should be doing on our behalf to make our life more comfortable, easier, and so we can relax when the summer comes and go down on the horse cars, can't we?
Yes.
If we ever get to the end of it.
Yeah.
But just a guy that's come on from Peel there, I know a lot of people in Peel, but I'm not speaking on their behalf. But people have to realise, the ratepayers have to realise too, that local authorities can fund projects over 20 years, 30 years, or 50 years, or whatever they want to do, as long as Treasury's got the money in the bank. So the first question is, to Treasury Minister is, have you got enough money to do the schemes that you're already planning? And we know for a fact, don't we, that government, who are custodians of the land for us as the people of the Isle of Man, we've got the bus station, the school, 2 pubs, the Quarter Bridge down there. We've got lots of property in the portfolio there. And what's the aspiration of the government, whether it's the DOI or Treasury or the Council of Ministers, to give us some lead for the future? And the guy was talking about PV panels. I'm not an expert, but I lost me evacuating tubes, and they were saving me 2 fills of oil a year. They're not now because they're gone. That's an insurance claim. But I'm now looking into PV panels for the roof,
right?
Because you can charge the house, and you can shunt that to the water as well.
And how much do you need in terms of batteries? Do you have to have battery storage?
You don't at the beginning, but if you want to be, like I was talking to a guy this morning, I hope he's listening. He's a professional guy too. He was showing me how much battery storage he's got, and he was saving it up yesterday because it was sunny. It doesn't have to be sunny; it just has to be bright, and the panels will start to move and shunt power in. I know for a fact because I've looked at the ones at Blackberry Lane that the football club have got. We're probably not making a lot of money because the government only give you 9p back. But if the government could give us some incentive to do things instead of these stupid things for cars, which we don't get anyway, are we? Who's going to have an electric car in the Isle of Man? Only those people that can afford it. And the final thing is, what are we doing with the horse stable at the bottom of Summerhill, next to a guy that's trying to run a business? And the amount of cones he's got outside that Paramount place, I'll have to say it, is ridiculous. And what is the DOI doing with the scaffolding out there, with huge blocks, concrete blocks, keeping the scaffolding from probably falling over? And when was it last inspected?
Okay, and before you say anything, I haven't heard any more about the TT scoreboard. Nothing about the scoreboard.
Do you know the number you put out for the if you're homeless?
Yeah.
Just between you and me and the rest of the people listening, I'll tell you what happens is, I rang it, right, which goes to the switchboard at the hospital.
Yeah.
And I said to the guy, I thought this was going to somebody who would be looking after homeless people. I know the number you want. And he put it through that housing matters, right? Spoke to the nice guy about it. And I said to him, what's the criteria? If I'm now homeless, what would you do? And I'm still waiting for the answer. I asked him for the contract they must have with government or social services or somebody there to say, what do we do? Do we put David Quirk into a home? Do we put David Quirk into prison? Or do we put David Quirk, give him money and we put him in a hotel, 5-star hotel with a swimming pool? These are questions.
Where would you like to go?
The confession, and I'll say it to everybody, I can't swim.
Okay.
I can't swim. When I was younger, Noble's Bath existed and Ballacabine School, and they were so cold. And do you remember that? People remember that they used to call them the slipper bath with brown stuff in to stop you getting your feet getting all sorts of things on. I was ace from jumping from one edge to the other and saying to the teacher, I haven't got any shorts, I haven't got any swimming trunks, I haven't got a towel. But they caught me out a few times, okay?
Thanks for calling. All right.
See you, mate.
Good to hear. It's 20-1 on Manx Radio. I got a message. What's happening with the horse trams? What's happening? We are famous for our halfway horse tram. Apart from being the radar capital of the world, the halfway horse tram. It was Norman who just said, what's the situation with the tramway timetable for 2025? It's been published. There are some changes, though.
Among them, a reduced schedule during the TT period. period. Whereas previously 2 trams would be in service across a number of days during the racing fortnight, this year there will just be the one. Meanwhile, towards the end of the season in October and early November, a shorter timetable will be used, which will see the final tram of the day depart at 3:35 p.m. instead of 5:35. The horse trams will return to Douglas Promenade on Thursday the 3rd of April. Currently, the tramway only runs between Derby Castle and the Villa Marina. The full track, which would run all the way to the sea terminal, is yet to be reinstated following the refurbishment of Douglas Promenade. That's despite funding being granted for that to happen. It remains uncertain whether this administration will finalise those proposals. An extended 2-tram schedule will be held during the peak of the season between the 22nd and 27th of July this year and each weekend throughout August. You can find a link to this year's timetable at manxradio.com.
We are home to the halfway horse tram. Back in Victorian times, this is 888. Back in Victorian times, we boasted the largest water wheel in the world. And these days, we still think that the Laxey wheel, Lady Isabella, is amazing. We're now potentially going to have the largest wind turbines in the world, and we think it's bad? Think of the engineering enthusiasts worldwide who would visit the Isle of Man just to see this enormous wind turbine array. It's a thought.
At the first store, the bowls were too small. No good for my porridge, Goldilocks thought. At the second store, the chairs were too hard and uncomfortable. But at the third store, the beds were so comfy. That's because she was in Millie Chaps of Ramsey, where everything is just perfect. Right now, find bargains across every department at the Millie Chaps winter sale, including carpets, flooring, sofas and dining. Plus amazing stressless bedroom furniture and accessories. Don't miss the Millie Chaps winter sale. Good choice, Goldilocks.
Give your home a facelift with Manx Glass and Glazing, whether choosing aluminium or UPVC in traditional or contemporary styles. You can be sure of excellent workmanship and guarantees. Members of Construction Isle of Man and family run for over 30 years, Manx Glass and Glazing are committed to the local community and they invest in future generations through their apprenticeship scheme. Visit the impressive showroom on Snugborough Trading Estate. Trust Manx Glass and Glazing, quality and style since 1986.
In life, we plan for birthdays, anniversaries and holidays. But what about planning for the unexpected?
I've worked hard all my life. I want to make sure everything's in place for my family.
Man Benham understands. We specialise in enduring powers of attorney, mental health receiverships and are there for you when mental capacities decline.
Thanks to Man Benham, your legacy is protected.
Secure your family's future today. Visit manbenham.com because peace of mind is the best legacy.
Caring for a loved one with special needs can be overwhelming.
With my mobility issues, I find it difficult to manage.
This is when Top Care Nursing can help. Proud to be an Isle of Man Award for Excellence winner, their friendly, professional team of carers and nurses offer a wide range of home care services. From help with daily tasks to giving round-the-clock care, Top Care Nursing can even take blood tests in the home. For a free consultation, call 628 919 or visit topcarenursing.im.
This Sunday is National Pizza Day, and here at Manx Radio, we're giving you the chance to win a £30 pizza voucher to spend at Paramount City. You could be one of 3 lucky winners to enjoy delicious pizza at one of the island's hottest new pizzerias. To win, listen out across the weekend and take part in our pizza quiz question. And then join us on Monday to find out if you're one of the 3 lucky winners. Celebrate National Pizza Day with Paramount City and your nation station, Manx Radio.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Gosh, we're really full of messages today, tons of them, including this from 101, just saying the procedure for an urgent colonoscopy is as follows. A, the GP sends an urgent referral to the appropriate consultant at Nobles. B, the referral is seen by the consultant / team, and if it's suitable for an urgent colonoscopy, then the procedure is normally booked in within 2 weeks of that consultant seeing the referral form. C, the patient doesn't normally need to see the consultant team prior to the procedure being done, as they'll be reviewed or assessed after the colonoscopy has been completed with the findings results. And D, if nil concerning is found after the report seen by the consultant or team, the patient can then be referred back to the GP and wouldn't necessarily see a consultant at all. If a follow-up's needed by the consultant or team referred to, that will be arranged. That's how it works, apparently. Nice to know. Thank you for that. 101, of course, on this side, on the sort of layperson's side, we don't know that. It's just dead worrying if somebody says you need a colonoscopy, because your mind just plays all sorts of tricks. Wilf's on now. Hi, Wilf.
Hi, it's just a very short one. I was looking at the paper here, the Examiner, and about 2/3 in, there's an article about Ramsay rates. So if anybody takes the trouble to read it, they will see why our rates have gone up and what they bought, or some of the things they bought. Obviously, some of the things that I didn't want them to buy. So, it's just simple like that. That's all I had to say.
That's okay. What's the update anyway, Wilf? Are you being moved? Are you coming out? What's happening?
No, I think I'll be moved in the next few days, I think. Either moved or put home or whatever. Right. Or threw out on the lawn, I don't know.
Well, that's good. So you could be at Ramsey Cottage Hospital?
It could be, yeah.
Wow. When was the last time you were in Ramsey Cottage Hospital, Wilf?
Well, let me see. 60 years ago when I fell off my motorbike.
Okay. All right. Continuing recovery. Thanks, Wilf.
Yeah, okay, all right.
All the best to you, thanks for that. If Manx Care stop employing so many ridiculous directors in non-medical positions, like the 2 new directors for supposed improvement of Manx Care, they could save £300,000 in salaries. For these 2 fellows, and employ another consultant radiologist to manage the ridiculous waiting list for that colonoscopy. 4 years ago, there were 4 directors or managers running Nobles. Now they all can't fit in the boardroom. That takes more than 30. I don't quite think there are 30, but there are lots and lots. And that seems to be the way. Lots of administrators needed. I want also to talk about, is a man you've not heard much of. This is the department, the DHSC, Department of Health and Social Care's Chief Officer. His name is Paul Richardson. And he said that the Department of Health and Social Care and Manx Care are working towards the same end. Paul Richardson says the flow of information, remember this whole point about miscommunication, this, that, and the other. He says the flow of information could be improved, but they are essentially one team. That's the Department of Manx Care. Paul Richardson, Chief Officer of the Department of Health and Social Care.
I would contest the analysis that there's a broken relationship. I've been here for 15 months. I don't consider that we have a broken relationship with Manx Care, Theresa Cope. We are all working flat out, and we're working flat out through all the time I've been here, but particularly more acute at the moment, on supporting Manx Care to actually drive the cost improvements that it needs to make to stay on top of what is a very significant deficit overspend, which has a serious impact on, the island's finances, or could do. And at the same time, with the resources that we have and the resources that Theresa has at her disposal in terms of her support, trying to negotiate a settlement with the island's doctors, or the doctors employed by Manx Care, who were threatening to walk out of work, which could have had serious implications for patient care. So when you take account of all of those events, it is quite difficult sometimes to actually stay on top and stay centred and stay focused. I think, as the Minister said, there are things we can do to improve the flow of information between the Manx Care Board and DHSC, and we continue to work on that, but I don't believe the relationship is actually broken to that extent. We are all working to the same end in terms of what we're trying to do to provide good health and care to people on the island.
Paul Richardson, that is. That's the Chief Officer of the Department of Health and Social Care. And they're working flat out towards this end to save the money. How long have they been working flat out towards it, by the way? We lost one Health and Social Care Minister So, how long do we wait, do you think? How long do we wait for this to be sorted? And do you think Mr. Richardson referred to the unions, Doctors' Union, Nurses' Union? At this time, do you think the unions are sensing anxiety in the management and asking for more money? And we all know where the money's coming from.
Spectrum Windows. If your house needs a new look and your windows letting rain, keep those cold breezes out and make it look like new again. Spectrum Windows, Spectrum Windows. Quality through and through. Great work guaranteed to you. Spectrum Windows, Spectrum Windows. Spectrum Windows.
This winter, don't let your savings hibernate. Watch them thrive at Skipton International Guernsey. Our savings accounts are here to help you reach your goals, no matter what the season. With outstanding customer service and a range of options, whether it's easy access, notice, or fixed-rate bonds, you'll find the perfect fit to make your savings shine. Skipton International, helping your savings grow all year round. For details on all of Skipton's savings products, call 01481 730 730 or visit skiptoninternational.com today.
Skipton International is licensed to take deposits by the GFSC and is a participant in the Guernsey Banking Deposit Compensation Scheme. See dcs.gg.
Hi, James from Tracy Bell here again. Are you thinking of dental braces? Well, at Tracy Bell, we can help. We give you a free consultation and can do all types of braces, from clear Invisalign to metal fixed, or even braces that fit behind the back of your teeth. Don't be shy, give us a try. Call 613323 for your free dental braces consultation. Tracy Bell, helping you to be better.
EVF, fueling the island and fueling you. With a great range of fresh foods and everyday essentials at our filling stations. And always great offers too. Ellen Mannin Fuels.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Derek's with us now. Hi, Derek.
Hi, Andy. How you doing?
Very well, thanks.
Just wondering, did you know that Manx Care had now gone into the touring business?
The what business?
The touring business.
How so?
Well, if you book an appointment in Douglas, you'll end up in Ramsey. You get a tour around the north free.
How so? What's happened then? Is this you?
Well, I have an appointment with Douglas at one of the clinics, and you book with patient transport to come and pick you up, and they pick you up and take you there and deliver you back home again. You right?
Yeah.
Did you know they ran a service for everybody who wants to go?
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah, they got 3 buses running full time. And if you book up, they will come out and pick you up at the door and bring you back to the door.
Right, yeah.
So anyway, I was booked to go in for 2 o'clock yesterday into Douglas. And so they picked me up at 10 to 1 because, they said, we got to go to Ramsey. And I thought, well, they must be picking somebody up in Ramsey to go to Douglas. But anyway, when on the way to Ramsey, it transpires, he said, what department do you want in Ramsey? I said, well, I don't want a department in Ramsey. I said, I'm going to Douglas. He said, no, you're not. He said, go to Ramsey. And we were heading to Kirkmichael at this time, down the coast road from Peel. So it was a case of jump off and walk home with a walking. Well, I didn't have my walking frame with me, so that was out of the question. So I had to sit tight and have a run down to Ramsey, round Ramsey, and back home again. Now, if that's not wasting money, you tell me what is.
Well, no, you could look upon it as a free mystery tour, couldn't you?
I know the lads were very good. They were exceptional. We were cracking our sides most of the way around, But it's not funny in the long run.
No, it's not. I mean, it is. It's a giggle, but if this is happening all the time, then it's not funny. I don't know.
I just don't know what's going through their heads. And this morning I got an appointment, a placement appointment. It's here before I was up this morning, and I'm Peel, so that's not bad going for the postal delivery, is it? So, for yesterday afternoon.
Very good.
So I've got one for next week. I ring up to book an appointment on the patient transport again, but there's no guarantee because it isn't a long enough period of time that they're booked up so much you can't get in.
Oh, my word.
So where does it leave you?
Well, exactly, and that's the question. There are more questions than answers. Where does it leave you? That's the thing, isn't it?
It just gets worse and worse, and I'm listening to your programme most of the days, and the amount of stories that's coming out of there about Manx Care, why are they being tolerated so long?
Well,
why aren't they fired out?
All right. Derek, it's good to hear from you. Thanks for being with us today.
Okie dokie.
Cheers
See
now.
ya. Bye.
Could you imagine how popular an open-air saltwater Lido pool would be these days, with a balcony bar, cafe on top of the changing rooms in Peel Bay? That's what we need. There used to be a swimming pool there years ago. It's going back to the... They even have it so the pool could be covered for concerts and held there too. Well, bring back the swimming pool. Actually, I think it's still written on the cliff, isn't it, there? There are many government jobs advertised online every week. Might be giving it a skeet over a month to give you an idea of what's happening. Thanks for that. Looks like all the iron seats have been loaded up this morning, probably going for scrap. They would have needed a lick of paint. Where are they, by the way? And that's it. Thanks to Alex on the phones today. Back tomorrow.
WINT.